People in the back. It's time to start moving up to the front. People in the back. Please. People in the back. People in the back. People in the back. Time to start moving up to the front. You're avoiding my eye contact. Get up front. Hey, how's it going?
All good.
Wait, there you go. Yes.
The best for David.
Yes. Let's start moving people up. People in the back. That means you. That means you. All right, I got it. Oh. Means you. All right. Those of you who are standing around, please take a seat. Everybody who's standing around, I see you, Daniele. I see you over there, standing right there. That's right. Stop standing. Sit down. Is there anyone who's still back there? Someone who's back there, take a look. Tell me. Tell them to get up here. All right. Welcome to our November event, everyone. Good to see all of you. How many of you guys have been to this event before? Raise your hand. A few of you? Okay, cool. I get more and more repeat attendees as we go on, so that's always good that you guys are coming back. So that means the rest of you guys are all new. That's awesome as well. I hope you guys really enjoy this. Before we kind of get into the talks today, we've got a talk today about AI-powered code reviews, and then one about AI safety, and then one about serving fine-tuned LLMs on a serverless infrastructure. And then we've got a bunch of demos. So before we get into that, I'm going to just cover some of the housekeeping items for today. Who here has built an LLM? Who has built an LLM application before? Okay, very awesome, very cool. All right, so I'm just going to cover some of this stuff really quickly. Has everybody had a chance to look at some of these QR codes? Has everybody had a chance to scan these QR codes? If you would like to look for, if you are interested in getting a job in open source or AI, I do have like some people who will ask me for this list every so often. I won't promise you'll get a job for filling this out, but at least you'll get in front of some people. Okay, I still see some phones out. It's okay, I'll put this up again at the end. So if you don't get it now, don't worry. You can always come ask me about it and I can send you a link as well. And then specifically, if you are looking for a DevRel role in SF, one of the companies that I work with is looking to hire for a DevRel in SF. You got to be able to make content, you got to be able to know about LLMs, and you got to be able to give talks. So no stage fright. Okay, I see the few people scan this. You're done with this. Okay, this is the most important slide of the night. This is the most important slide you're going to see. You got to scan this. Go follow me on LinkedIn. I'm about 90,000 followers away from 100,000. So please help me out. It would be really helpful, you know. And okay, I still see scans. Yes, that's right. Help me get to 9,700 today. All right. This is also important. I think most of you guys probably already are all subscribed to the calendar. Everybody found this through Luma. Did anybody find this event through any other means? What? Gary's events? Huh. Okay. Well, I don't know who Gary is, but I got to thank him. I hope you guys have all found this on Luma. If you haven't subscribed to the calendar, subscribe to the calendar. We have events every month, and we send out newsletters every week with the upcoming events for the month. We have online events, we have events here in SF, and we have events up in Seattle. At some point, we'll probably be expanding to New York as well. Is everybody here from SF? Raise your hand if you live in SF. Okay, so actually there's a lot of you guys who don't live in SF. Okay, that's really interesting. But the Bay, like the South Bay and the Peninsula, if I say that, like, does that more hands go up? Okay, that's close enough to SF, guys. I live in Seattle, so like that's SF to me. All right, this, if you want to come to this event next month, we do change up the speakers next month. I don't remember exactly who's coming, but Pinecone, Comet ML, and I think Komodo AI is coming again. We'll have different speakers next month, so if you want to come next month, come check it out. Okay, I see a few people scanning. Everybody's done scanning. Okay, cool. I believe that wraps it up for this, and so I don't have anything else to say until the end. So we're gonna welcome our first speaker, Hasit. Oh, no, wait, there's something I want to say. Yes, I totally forgot about this. Okay, so today we're testing this out. We're going to test out this thing called Hacker Squad. Has anyone here been to Weaviate's events with Adam? Raise your hand. A few of you guys. So you guys are kind of familiar with this. Some of you guys haven't. Wow, Adam, you're getting a really good night tonight. Where are you, Adam? You're getting a really good tonight because you're about to get a lot of signups. All right. If you guys can, go to hackersquad.com, sign up for an account so you can leave reviews for all of the talks. So all the speakers today are on there. You can see them on this event. Am I not logged in? I don't know how to log into this. Okay. You see this event? So these are the 3 companies that are here to speak, and you can. Okay, that's not what that's supposed to do. Anyway, that is a real rabbit there. It's really hopping. But you can leave reviews for all of the speakers tonight. So if you think they gave a really good talk, it'd be really helpful if you said, hey, you gave a really good talk. If you think their talk was trash, you should leave them a review. Say like, hey, like, get it together. All right, so that's all for me. So make sure you go to this site, Hacker, HACKR Squad. So hacker without the E, squad.com. And so you can go and leave reviews for all the talks, leave notes so you can keep up with the notes for yourself. Show an example. Who said that? I actually don't know how to leave a review. Easy. Oh, wow. See, that was so easy. Okay, cool. Swag. With the object present. Wait, what? Let's hope it's a bear, guys. All right, I am human. Okay. Please make sure you fill out the feedback form and agree to share with the company. Did I not fill it out? Oh, here we go. Oh my God. This talk was good. Nice. Great. What is this? Adam, this is too hard. Okay, so it looks really easy on the surface, but proving you're human is actually really hard. But if you are human, you should be able to do this, and you should be able to fill this out, and you should be able to take some notes and leave reviews. And hopefully this will, man, this is a nerve-wracking live demo. Did I get a green notification? Did I get one? I didn't get one. Okay. Can I see the build log from here? All right, Adam, I'm gonna need your help to come show how this works.
Let's see. Anish from Komodo. I heard Anish talk about Komodo AI, and it was very insightful. Okay, don't leave a note like this. Actually put something thought-provoking in here. Click on this and prove you're a human. What do we hear? We're each circle and select the circle with the lowest number of animals. The circle with the lowest number of animals.
Yeah.
All right, 60% of the time you might get this.
Oh, wow.
And we usually incentivize like these events with like prizes and stuff. So people with the highest number of points will end up winning some prize.
Okay.
We're not doing that today, right?
No.
Okay.
Your prize today is that if you get the highest number of points, you can take a selfie with me.
Heck yeah. And then after you submit your build log, they'll show up here where you can see what you've learned. And the LLM score is tied to like technical depth of what you learned. So if you talk about something and you can express like how it works based on what you learned, you'll get a higher score, up to a score of 5. And the modifiers are just something to incentivize the game. And then these leaderboards is where you'll see the points afterwards. Because we're not doing anything with the score, this doesn't matter today, but these build logs will be shared with the speakers. Thanks.
It matters. You know in your heart if you won. All right, first speaker, Hasit, where are you? There you are. Start your thing. I'll come in and help find some questions.
Hello. Hey. Hi, my name is Hasit. I'm from CodeRabbit. My teammates are here too. You can say hi to them later. Here to talk about AI-powered code reviews. That's our bread and butter. So CodeRabbit was founded in 2023. Does anyone here know about CodeRabbit? Few hands? Nice. Love to hear this. So yeah, we recently raised Series A. We've hit some good milestones recently, 1,500 paying organizations so far, many more OSS users and free users, some good amount of GitHub repo installs as well, and lots of PRs reviewed so far. We are the #1, I would say, at least on the top of the AI apps in GitHub Marketplace. And we have a wide range of companies using us. So the problem that we are trying to solve is recurring. I'm sure most of you have faced it in your normal day-to-day work life, right? So a lot of companies suffer through downtime because of bugs, and it costs them. It's a time cost and a money cost. So for larger enterprises, it takes much more. So developers have self-reported in another article, which I forgot to cite over here. It takes about 4 to 13 hours of time to resolve certain, to go through a pull request and eventually get it merged. It sucks up a lot of time. While we can argue that it is something that is necessary, it does suck up a lot of the development time. I'm sure everyone here is familiar with the normal flow of when you start coding, you then push it up. There's some tests you can run. There's a manual code review. This is how it traditionally happens. And eventually you ship the your software. The problems with this is in your automated pipelines, the scope is limited. It's hard to extend the static analyzers. They're usually for very specific purposes. On the other hand, there's the manual code review problem. So that takes up a lot of time. There's a lot of context switching involved. You'll have to stop what you're doing, go into the mindset of who made the code change. And of course, that's the human oversight that we want to eliminate, which we want to eliminate over time. So CodeRabbit helps with all of these areas. And CodeRabbit, the first thing is it helps you address errors quickly. It runs certain linters in the back on top of the review and shows you errors and even gives you fixes for them. It has a built-in chat, so you can chat with the CodeRabbit bot just like you would with a fellow human reviewer. It is highly configurable, so you can configure at the repo level, you can configure at the organization level, and there's a lot of engineering that's gone behind it to make the reviews a lot more meaningful. I don't have a live demo, but I have repos out there that use CodeRabbit, and these are all open source repos. I can walk you through some of them, see what a code review looks like from CodeRabbit, and maybe you can get a good idea about all the features that I just told you about. All right, let's go to the first one. So when CodeRabbit starts doing a review, it starts with a simple summary of what changed. This is what it looks like. It's a simple bullet points of changes. It leaves the first comment it leaves is a walkthrough comment. This is more of a technical walkthrough of what changed and what changed in those files. We also have the ability to show you objectives out of linked issues. So here the author actually linked a GitHub issue, and it's 1163. So CodeRabbit was able to develop objectives out of it, show you which objectives were met out of these issues. So these are just peripheral features that we call code project management features. We can even show you possibly related issues to your PR. And a cute little poem which people love to share on X and wherever else they are. So okay, let's go to an actual review, right? This is what a review looks like. Let's look at one of these. So here. CodeRabbit found out that, hey, there's a log, there's a better way to do it, check for error first, this is some Go code. And the author was like, okay, create an issue for me, I'll handle it later. So this is when the CodeRabbit's agentic flow kicks in. It understands what create an issue means. It goes ahead, creates a script, executes it, and links it back here. It feels natural, very conversational. You can talk to the bot. You can tell it commands. You can even ask it for clarification. So I had another example somewhere here. So CodeRabbit left a review on a struct saying that there is a field which is no longer it's not required. It's a redundant field. User said, okay, am I using it directly somewhere? Can you find me the offending code? CodeRabbit was able to figure that out, point it out to the user, and they were able to address the issue eventually. This is an example of a slightly more complicated interaction, but CodeRabbit is able to answer questions directly that are addressed to it. There's a very interesting feature that we recently added called learnings, which is using a vector database in the backend. And what happens is, over time, when you talk to the bot, it remembers things, and it applies it the next time it is reviewing the same piece of code or similar piece of code. So at some point, the authors of this project would have told CodeRabbit that, hey, if you see more than 4 of the same import statements, suggest a star import. CodeRabbit did exactly that. And the author said, no, we changed that. That's no longer how we do it. So CodeRabbit was able to find these old learnings, remove them, and then add a new one going. So future reviews will be slightly better. A feature that I missed is, and which is really liked by people, is we have the ability to generate sequence diagrams for you sometimes. So if CodeRabbit detects a change in flow, it can generate a sequence diagram. It has a mind of its own. Don't tell me if it doesn't do it on your PR. So yeah, this is what it looks like, and this is a well-loved feature. So yeah, and going back to the overall configurability of it, all of this is configurable, and yeah, I would love for you all to give it a try. My team is here. Please feel free to talk to any of us afterwards. We are hiring, and you can email us or check out our website, sign up over there. I'll open it up for questions. Yeah. It's a great thing, actually. This is a problem that needs to be solved, and so far I think GitHub, as far as I remember, does editor level code reviews, right? So this is at the merge request where code reviews have traditionally been happening. I won't comment on the quality. I would love for you to try it out.
I don't know whether it was comments or the pull request or whether this were comments for an issue, but kind of there was a pretty much discussion like, hey, could you explain this and so on and so forth. You can expect this kind of conversation space like as a comment for an issue, because it just seems like a regular dialogue, let's say, between two developers where one person tries to just trying to figure out whether comment section to issues or makes for this discussion.
What sort of discussions?
Like if you go back to the part of your demo where you showed
any of these?
Like one of the comments like you explain something like that. So I guess maybe my comment is I expect a bit more I want to information in GitHub a bit more clean to have certain discussions maybe outside of GitHub. Just curious whether this is like an expected place for you to discussions, or that's a big question.
Well, yes, this is, I mean, this a pull request is our interface to the app in a way. So a lot of these commands we allow you to use, like pause, start a full review, just the chat feature. So this happens to be our interface to the product. And there is an app, of course, that is where you can configure, you can work with the learnings on the app. But majority of the time, I would expect developers to be on the pull request rather than outside of it. Right, that's very interesting. So I'm often on customer calls and I get asked the same question. And so traditionally, at least in the companies that I've worked in, we've had two mandatory reviews, and that's the norm, at least in most teams. People have started using one as a CodeRabbit review and one as a human review. So at least it gives you a great first pass. It builds confidence, and then a human reviewer can go and approve it at the end. That's the shift I'm seeing. All right, if no more questions, then yeah. Yes. So the interesting parts are in getting the output to be actually meaningful and not just looks good to me or change this, change that. So it's about categorizing how we ask the LLM to categorize the output and eventually parse it in a form that is meaningful to the humans. So there were challenges there. We'll talk about it in depth later. Yes.
Questions. I don't know how many people like play with the cloud computer use. It seems like it's a very good use case for that to do this kind of work, right? So I'm curious, are you planning to integrate something like workflow like that, or how do you compete with those? Imagine like the down 3.5 would be like 3x faster.
I did not get your question, sorry.
Oh, sorry. It's related to the cloud 3.5 computer use. Recently, they released that. I don't know how many people play with that. It seems like a really good use case for that to do this kind of work.
What did you say about what is 3.5?
Cloud 3.5.
Oh, cloud 3.5. Yes, of course.
Computer use.
Of course, yes. We actually use multiple LLM providers, and we use different models for different tasks. So we also, yes, we are a customer. We also use Anthropic and OpenAI, both.
Yeah, I'm curious about how do you compete with them? Imagine if they have some product like a desktop app or something. I think it's pretty good. It might be really slow right now. Imagine it's like a 3x faster.
Right.
Not even 10x, maybe 3x faster. It can be, maybe useful in production.
Well, yes. It is useful, yes, because we use that model, but we don't compete with the LLM providers. We compete in a whole different space. What we are doing is code reviews. So we are using these models to do code reviews. In a way, if you just paste your code into an LLM, you would not get such a well-structured output. Mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Oh, that's what.
Hi. How do you verify your suggestions are correct?
We have extensive evals. At least that's what we do whenever we make prompt changes, whenever we use a new model, and we have ways of testing it with certain inputs and looking for expected outputs. Now, out in the wild, yes, some suggestions might be wrong. It might not be exactly accurate based on your code base. And that is why there is a chat feature. That is why there are learning features. That is why there are instructions. You can also provide custom instructions. So you can cater the bot to be a team member eventually over time. So yes, accuracy is something that is, we've gotten there after a lot of work, and I feel like it's much better now. And also thanks to new models, O1 is doing phenomenally in this space. Yeah.
I have a two-part question. First question is it the review going to happen for across multiple repositories, or is it like on one repository when I put a pull request, the LLM is only going to look at that? And two, if I am a company, I'm worried that my code might get lost if I call a third-party API like yours. So how secure, or what are your thoughts about security?
So to answer your first question, we work at the repo level. So a PR is on a repo. So that is where we work. But you can give it knowledge of other things, and that is in the configuration. So that is possible. And to answer your second question about security concerns, we work with LLM providers. We have zero data retention policy. contracts with them. They do not log anything from us, and typically larger enterprises end up installing on-prem. So we give them CodeRabbit to install on their infrastructure. So they make calls to their own LLM providers in that case.
Hey, I'm just curious. So since you have customers, like, have they expressed what types of reviews have been reviewed more or less like successfully? Like as a developer, I feel like there are different kinds of reviews, like of different like lengths. Some might be like a config change. Something could be like a feature. Like have the customers expressed like what CodeRabbit AI is like better at or anything like that?
I mean, yes, we are language agnostic in a way. Now, we've seen a lot of we've seen success across most modern languages. All of our customers, the complaints are more along the lines of sometimes the verbosity, sometimes the accuracy. But it works well across all languages and all kinds of frameworks. We have internal evals also, and we can talk about that later. So I'd love to talk to you about that.
For the reviews, what is the context? Is it at a PR level or the entire repo level?
It's like the entire repo.
Entire repo.
Yes.
Okay, so and it can handle a large size repo because how do you manage the context?
Yes, so not everything is sent to the LLMs. Of course, we have to figure out what is the most apt thing to send at any point of time. And the agentic flow example that I showed you, when a PR occurs, we actually clone the repo. And that is what we use for a lot of context. So we query certain parts of the code to get more context and send it out.
Okay, thank you. Thanks. Just to follow up to that, do you use a vector database for that, or
Yes.
what's your?
So for the learnings and the indexing of issues, as I showed you, those features, they do use a vector database.
But also for the like repo level storage that you retrieve from, right?
Well, that is yes, it's parts of it. Some of the instructions are saved there, and it's a RAG pipeline in the end of it.
Awesome. Thank you.
I have a follow-up for that. Which vector database do you use?
Pinecone. Yeah, we're exploring other options as well.
Do you just use like a base language model or using like fine-tuned models to do this?
We use base language model. Thank you so much.
Questions? No other questions? Okay, cool. Thank you, Hasit. All right. Someone asked about security concerns, so I think our next speaker is going to address that.
Hi all, I'm Amar. I'm the founder CEO of Protecto. Today we'll be talking about privacy, safety, and compliance, a topic most developers hate. They'll rather do their taxes than talk about privacy compliance. We hope to change that. So we have made it very simple. So I'll tell how simple it is with Protecto. So let's start with the problem statement. So when it comes to GenAI, doing a proof of concept is very simple, right? Going from proof of concept to production is extremely hard. I was talking to a head of AI app development for a healthcare company. What she was saying, even without privacy concerns, simple knowledge-based kind of ditch search, RAG, the ratio is 1:6, 1 month of POC, 6 months of POC to production. So that is something very common in AI. Why is that, right? If you think deeper, why that problem is, here is a common concerns enterprise have, right? So security, privacy, IP, compliance, these are the common hurdles when you move from POC to production. Easy to show a simple use case with a POC and get the approval. But when you want to go into production, all these things come into play. And why is that, right? The world is changing. From an enterprise point of view, if you think about it, from a developer point of view, we understand, yes, the world is changing. Yes, it's great. But from an enterprise point of view, they are moving from a very predictable application to non-deterministic application. This you say to a CISO, security officer, even developers, business, they get very worried about it, right? You have a fixed UI, you know how to test it, you're going to conversational. I can drop anything in there. That worries them, right? Think of a predictable versus non-deterministic, right? Here are the 10 use cases, it passed. Here is a SOC compliance, it passed, I'm going to release it. That's not going to happen. Now they had to rethink everything. So this is where the hurdle starts coming in, right? When you think Gen AI, anything AI application from POC to production, you have to address these questions. You have to pay your taxes. So I'll walk you through some of the strategies and how Protecto can help. So let's start with a simple, since it's a very dry subject, easy to start with a simple use case, right? Here is a customer, is a real world customer. They had 50 million claims data. You submit a healthcare claim, they process it. So with this, they can do really good stuff. For example, one of the big problems in healthcare is overbilling, right? You have a cold, they will bill it for pneumonia, right? By sometimes it is by design to get more money out of the claims. Sometimes it's error. So using a simple RAG, they can catch it, right? They can have a golden set of, here are the list of conditions, here are the possible codes. Then you feed a new claim, it can process it. As simple as that. The problem is the claims has all the patient health information, name, the medical condition, date of birth, everything. The big, traditional use cases, they would have created an artificial test data and they would have generated a test app, right? It would have passed. In this case, no, it can be done because somebody has to validate, right? A developer or a tester, somebody is going to validate the data. They have to see the real data, not the synthetic data. And synthetic data in healthcare has other complications. So in this use case, how to solve it, right? You will build an application with the real data, right? Where your validators and developers won't see the full PHI, per patient health information, but authorized users can see the PHI. Data masking can help here, right? So what you do is, once you ingest the data into a vector database or in a building context, you mask the data, the critical identifiable data, digest it. When the prompt comes, do that and unmask it only for certain users. Sounds simple, but the problem is when it comes to data masking, I'll come back to the slide. Here's a simple example. So data masking has been for like 10, 20 years. When it comes to AI applications, it is not that simple. I'll tell you why. Here's a simple example. There are 3 statements. Hey, the gist of it is, if there is a problem, if the first level support didn't handle it, escalate it. That's what the instruction says. And the prompt says, okay, the first level support failed. What should I do? The right answer for it is escalate. This is what you're expecting from any of AI application you're building. But once you mask it, right, you pass through any masking tool, it is going to remove all these names. Now the context is collapsed. Your LLM will quickly get confused. It'll give you wrong answers. Make sense? This, right? When you do a data masking, when you remove the identifiers, your context or the value of the data goes down. So your LLM will start producing inaccurate results. A lot of times you will try to fix that in your retrieval, or you will try to fix it in your prompt. but the problem is in your data when you masked it, right? Here's a simple example, but let me take it a little further. So how do we solve it, right? Here's an example. How we solve it is, I quickly brush past it because I can quickly show in a demo that might be easier. So here, what we do at Protecto is we take the data, we mask it, but we mask it very consistently. Meaning each time we see Sophia Smith, we are going to give the same token no matter where it's coming from. It can come from a ticketing system, it can come from a document, or it can come from the prompt. We are going to give a consistent token. And even within that, we are going to break first name, last name, phone numbers, things like those, and we'll make it consistent. We'll encode it with certain parameters, and we'll give certain instructions to the LLM. So everything is intact. So when you mask that data with the regular data masking tools, it will fail. But when you mask it with Protecto, it will maintain the consistency and will produce the consistent results. Okay. How do we do it? There are many steps. I'll quickly say this and I'll skip past. So first is identification. What is PII? Then masking it. We have to make it consistent. We have to preserve the formatting. We have to retain the connections. All these things done through an API. You just pass the data. We'll take care of the end and we'll give the data back to you, right? And that you pass it to LLM. Your privacy, compliance, and your safety issues are taken care of, right? So before you ingest the data into your RAG or any kind of agent, there are many different patterns, design patterns, how you can integrate. So all these things are on API away, right? You call our API for masking and you call our API for unmasking, right? As simple as that. So far, so good, right? I'm saying, okay, good. So I had to check this because let me show a quick demo. So here we have integrated, think of ChatGPT, but Protecto layer is in between. We are using OpenAI. So anytime I'm typing something, it is going to filter the name and send it to the LLM, get the answers back. Ours is just an API. Instead of just directly showing an API, I'm just showing it in an app, easy for people to understand. So if I say, write an email to, so So there are two identifiable information here, like John Smith, and there is a city name. So what Protecto is doing is it is identifying, intercepting the prompt, identifying what is sensitive, replaces with the token, and sends to the LLM. When the answers comes back, it puts back the original and showing to you, right? The key thing is the context of the prompt didn't change. Still, the answers are accurate. This is a simple prompt. We are dealing with one PII. Even if I load with hundreds of PII, right? Hundreds of identifiable information. Still, the consistency will be there. Still, the accuracy will be maintained. Makes sense, right? So the data that hits your context or hits LLM doesn't have PII, identifiable information. Even the data is leaked, you'll pass your compliance faster. You'll get the approval to use the data, test the data faster, right? You can go from POC to production very quickly, right? Because the data is not stored in an identifiable fashion, right? If you use regular masking, it's going to kill accuracy. If you use Protecto, we'll maintain the consistency, right? So it's all based on 2 APIs in the background, right? I mean, there are many flavors of the API, but there are 2 APIs. The one is a mask, one is unmask. As simple as you send a mask with a API key and a value, and you get the answers back, right? It tells many things, like for example, what PI is there, what PHI is there, what safety risks are there, toxicity, things like those, right? All those things. So I'll go back to the presentation. So here is a simple, I'll show you a few ways you can integrate. For now, replace Protecto with any other masking tools. It'll have its problems, but think of if you're thinking of another masking tool, replace Protecto with your own masking tool. But this is a common design pattern, right? What many companies, what they do is, no matter what you ask, my application will never answer with something identifiable. So you put the filtering at the response, the simplest way. So you can ask any kind of questions, but anytime a response comes out, I'll mask all the sensitive information, right? That's one way. Now, the right way to do it is when you're ingesting data into your embedding or you are building a context, mask it. And whenever the response comes out, unmask it, right? Then if you're building an agent kind of framework, then you have to think a little bit more, because now you have to think about prompt, response, and also context, and also API calls to make your actions, right? All these things are, again, 2 APIs, mask and unmask. So you can integrate Protecto, right? So you can integrate or build your system, either it's a small or a complex agent. You can make it privacy preserving, compliant, and safety, okay? So a few things to consider when you're thinking of either using Protecto or any other masking tools. So as I said, from POC to production, few enterprise features will become critical. For example, the accuracy of finding the PII, right? What is sensitive? So we have tested our models against many different test data. We have optimized over years. You have to make sure the tool you're picking can identify what is sensitive, PI, PHI, much accurately. That's one. Then you have to think about the scaling problems, right? The scaling problems are, you have to think about high availability, disaster recovery, these kind of things. And most importantly, within a same company, different teams will have different needs for masking, right? You might have a healthcare customer who will think the set of things they consider sensitive, versus a finance customer versus in retail will be completely different, right? So when you're building either internal or external application, understanding and ability to support these customers becomes critical. So you cannot just mask everything. You have to provide policy-based masking, right? So if somebody is from a different industry, you have to give a different policies. You have to make sure the tool you pick or the tool you're developing supports that, right? Then your tool will also go through the same compliance checks, privacy checks, things like those. So audit trails, the compliance requirements have to be part of your masking tools as well, right? So these are some of the things you should keep in mind when you're picking the right tool for your privacy, safety, and compliance, okay? So far, so good, right? So I'll keep going. So this bit about us. So some of the leading companies use us. Automation Universe Agentic Framework uses Protecto in the background for their data governance and safety and privacy. Nokia uses us. We are working with some of the leading brands in healthcare, like Inavalon uses us. Here is a QR code. Connect with me in LinkedIn. Happy to chat anytime, right? I can give tips on masking sensitive information or proving compliance, things like those. Happy to help you with adopting Protecto, but outside of Protecto also, if you're interested in the topic, happy to connect, right? That's about it. I can, yeah. I can skip these things. Yeah.
You're so far away.
I can just speak. Should I use the microphone? Thank you for the presentation. I'm curious about the logic of how exactly the masking works. Do you develop your own like NLP model, which predicts what to mask, what not to mask, or do you use an LLM for this?
So we have our own NLP model, yeah, entity recognition model. We tried LLM. Few reasons why we didn't go with an LLM. One is, though we are a SaaS, many of our customers want us to run on-prem, right, on their cloud, right? So if you use a LLM, then the requirements for hardware, everything goes up. That's one. But that's set aside. One of the biggest problems we had is predictability, right? If a customer says your model is not identified this particular disease or a name, I should be able to reproduce in my test environment. LLM, we couldn't get that predictability. Makes sense? So if I ship with an LLM, it perfectly works for them or doesn't work for them, test environment works, then I cannot fix it, right? So just for the predictability's sake, we are sticking to NLP models and the cost and shipping.
Thanks for the talk. I saw so you have two endpoints, a masking and an unmasking endpoint. It means that you are storing the sensitive information as well. I don't know if you went into this during your talk, but I'm kind of curious what storage mechanisms you're using for sensitive data and how you ensure that customers, that you're like not a honeypot for attackers, basically.
Yeah. So there are three flavors, right? One is anonymization. Anonymization is you one-way masking. You mask, you can never get the originals back, right? That's anonymization. We don't store anything. When it comes to pseudonymization, meaning that's a two-way masking, we will mask one way and they can unmask it whenever needed, right? There are two options for it. There is a vault, which is a privacy vault that stores the mapping. Another is vaultless. Vaultless is based on encryption. So it doesn't store, it is just doing a format preserving encryption. But on the vault side, we have our own, we have used a database, a distributed database, and it is stored part of the applications. Yeah. We are using a third party, meaning another database. We are not building it. What's that? No. Skyflow, we compete Skyflow with Skyflow. There is a big difference between if you want Skyflow and us. Big difference. I can walk you through what are the differences. The vault, when you say vault, we have our own vault, but the database we use underneath is something third party, like the database, right? We use a TIDB, which is a distributed database. That's what I meant. Vault is ours, right? The database we use is not like we are building from scratch.
Yeah. So pretty good presentation. We saw in your solution, you were pulling the data from systems like Salesforce and SAP and so on. In these backend systems, the authorizations are not static. It may change over a period of time. So the level on which the roles can access it could vary. So since it is dynamic, how your system would handle?
So if you look at our APIs, we are not dealing with role-based access today. Only at the unmasking we do it. We let the applications decide it, right? We will not have, we want it to be lightweight and we want to be just API level. We will not have more context beyond the API, right? So you send the data, send the policy, we apply, right? We don't determine who has authorization, right? We have authorization, but we don't determine which user has what authorization, right? That the application decides, right? We are not getting in there, yeah. Good question though. We looked into that space. It's in our roadmap. The problem is, the problem is deeper than, the question is, if you are ingesting data which has role-based access built in, once you vectorize, all the role-based access is gone. In a vector world, that role-based access doesn't exist. Now your retrieval will not have the same role-based access. Hence, your response cannot have the same role-based access. So that's a complex problem. Then we have to, it's in a roadmap. Then what we have to do is we have to build that tracker right from the ingestion itself, right? We have to be deeply integrated. Not the API alone will not work. So you have to use our embedding, then our retrieval as well.
Compliances require segregation of duties.
Right.
You talk about role. So the person who is having this role is not supposed to be performing certain other actions.
Right.
So it could possibly become much more complex when it comes to LLM.
Yes. So we are dealing with, let's say, grade 1 problem, then grade 5, 6 is above us, right? Think of that way. So today they cannot even ship a product without simple masking and PHI masking. Here also we have role-based access. It is just, it's broad, right? Certain users and roles have PI access. Certain roles and users don't have PHI access, right? That's how we are segregating. In the future, yes, you can define roles and hey, for this actions, this person have access, but these kind of questions, this person doesn't have access. These kind of things, I think it will come in the next year or so. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you. I had the same PI question. Two other question I had was, given that you have 2 endpoints, which unmasks and masks, and then only it goes to the other LLMs, what is the P99 in latency wise?
Yeah, good question. So the way we answer to our customers is, yes, we will add latency. I mean, there's no way to get around it. Relative to LLM latency, right? Whatever the cost it's going to take, right? Cost when I meant time it's going to take. What is the percentage we are adding, right? As far as it's less than 10, 15%, customers are okay. If your round trip with to LLM and get the answers back, your AI application, whatever it is, takes 10 seconds or 5 seconds. As far as we are within that 1 second latency, they're okay. That's how we solve the problem.
That 1 second is for one API because you have to.
No. I just gave an example, right? The way we can process up to 70 MB of data in a minute, right? It all depends on hardware and its auto scales. So if you want a really fast throughput, we'll put it in more servers. That's all, right? So that's the reason we always say, what is the requirement customer have, right? For example, that's the 10-15% number we gave, right? I gave, right? So if the customer's requirement is within that bound, we decide hardware based on that.
That 15% that you told is for all sorts of the masking, or is it like a specific?
No, it's all because it's an average. Some masking you have to identify and mask, right? So it will take the same amount, right? You have to pass through our AI models to identify, mask. Unmask is much faster. Masking has to go through our AI models.
Thank you.
Hi, this is a great talk. Thank you. I was wondering, you mentioned preserving context. In the example, would you have split the first name and last name, let's say, to allow the LLM to say Dear John instead of Dear John Smith? And also, that's awesome. And also, if you have, like the LLM won't be able to know that it was San Francisco or a specific disease. Did this change anything in terms, did your clients need to change their prompts accordingly because they're working with masked data in any of the applications?
So between the entities, we give the different prefix and suffixes, right? So the models will know the difference between a disease and the city. It won't know what city it is, but even within, if there are two cities will have different codes. So it will know, right? Certain cases, for example, one of the customers, they want to analyze based on area code, right? There's another customer, they want to do it on the zip code, first 2 digits of the zip code, right? In those cases, we keep the 2-digit consistent and the 3, again, masked, but consistent, and the 3 digits separate. So you can go deeper into the, like just like first name, last name, we can do that, right? So I didn't go into those details, but our product has those capabilities.
Okay, yeah.
Right.
And I was wondering, the LLM cannot make the assumptions it was making on San Francisco specifically, or a disease being a big disease, or
yes.
Yeah.
So if you're asking what is the distance between a particular address and another address, yes, it can answer that. Yes.
Yeah. Did this impact any of your customers? Thanks.
In the use cases we are dealing with, that's a trade-off they are making, right? As I was saying, the product won't even ship, right? If it won't not even ship, it will not go from POC to production. You will not even have access to the data. Then what do you do, right? So this is the best thing. Yeah.
So will the masking change the response sometimes? Because, for example, a certain disease, you will, the hospital will bill for a certain price, but if you mask it out, and then it couldn't generate the bill.
So
that'd be the case.
The way to deal with that is policy-based masking, right? So for that prompt, you need the diseases in, you apply a different policy, right? The product will apply a different policy. Let the disease go. It will take the patient's name and the identifiers out. Still, you won't know which patient we are dealing with. The diseases will go through, right? Makes sense? The second way one of the metrics we track is called response accuracy retention. That's a metric we track, RARI, right? Response accuracy retention. And we constantly test it, masked, unmasked, masked, Protecto masked. We constantly test this. What is the accuracy loss, right? As far as the unmasked and the masked with Protecto, the accuracy loss is within few percentages. It's okay, right? For that use case. If not, they had to change the policy somewhere, right? But the previous question, right? Still, you will not be able to answer the distance between two places. For that use case, it may not be important. So your accuracy loss will not be there. Makes sense. So you had to think about what is my use case? Here are the possible scenarios. Here are the response without masking. Here is a response with masking. What is accuracy loss, right?
Time for one more.
Hi. So the masking, is the concern ever that the prompt becomes extremely large after a certain period of time?
Not really, because PII density, right? Not every word is a PII.
Right.
So it's not going to dramatically change, double your token size or anything.
Okay.
It could, theoretically it could, but most cases, no. Right. Again, think of, you cannot even ship the product. You understand? Right. So and these are high value use cases. The use case I was telling about, the claims billing, it's a $200 billion problem in the industry now. Identifying overbilling alone. Okay. So these are high value use cases. Cost is not a problem.
Okay. Does anyone have any last question? One last question up there? All right.
Let me talk about the billing claiming part. One of the fundamental problems in U.S. healthcare system, we don't have a national health record system, even like I didn't have. So if you're removing enough signature of the stuff, one of the medical record workers have 5 Jennifer Lopez. I'm not joking. Based on age and address and they extract out. More thing you mask, it's hard to get things out, figure out what it is. No, because we don't have a national healthcare numbers. It's a fundamental problem. We don't want to track this stuff, so we had to get as much information out to able to ID the person for claiming process.
So what you're saying, don't even collect the data is what you're saying?
No, because you have too many names of the same person in the database, and you might have the wrong surgery at the same time.
Right.
But more data you're removing, it's hard to get claimed. Trust me with that.
I'll rephrase the question. Correct me if I'm wrong. So the question is, if there's multiple people with the same duplicate names, will that add no more noise, right? So I was one of the metrics we track is the response accuracy retention. With the unmasked data and the masked data, is the accuracy same? The problem exists in unmasked data too. So we are not adding that data or removing anything more. So that problem will continue to exist. I mean, we are not touching the problem technically. Okay, so the policy again comes into picture, right? In some cases, people say with your zip code, age, and gender, I can identify you. A lot of people say that. But when it comes to claims, it's up to always the privacy, security, compliance is a dial, right? One extreme is your data utility, right? No mask, nothing. That's 100% data utility, but privacy, compliance, security, 0, right? Other extreme is lock your data. 100% security, 100% privacy, but no utility, right? So we are in that curve. So customer has to decide, I'm going to enable the use case. Yes, somebody is smart enough to connect 3-4 data sources and pull somebody out. Yes, they can. But will you not enable data and a use case with that risk? It's the trade-off they have to decide. Yes, customer's decision, yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Amar.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Please connect me in LinkedIn. Happy to chat more. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, we'll have one more 15-minute talk. It'll be a shorter talk, and then you guys can all take a bathroom break. I see people starting to stir a little bit, so sit through one more.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Anish. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Komodo AI. So I actually came here a few months ago and presented what we were working at Komodo, and a lot has changed in that time. But before I tell you about kind of the exciting changes that we made, I want to give you a little bit of background on how we started with the platform. So Komodo originally was a GPU cloud and developer platform all in one. Users could easily spin up GPU-backed notebooks, launch serverless training jobs, and serve their own fine-tuned models, and we will automatically handle all of the scaling and load balancing around it. And all of this was provided through a very simple interface that wouldn't require any code changes at all. Now, as we were building this and onboarding users, we noticed something. We noticed that by far, the most popular feature we had was our model serving vertical. And people would tell us that the other two verticals about GPU notebooks and serverless training jobs, they were already using platforms like BrevDev, RunPod, AWS SageMaker, and they didn't see a compelling enough reason to switch to our platform. But when it came down to model serving with our unique interface, people really loved it. We had really strong feedback, and all of our feature requests were all related to model serving. People wanted more out of this platform. And so we decided to do the classic startup move. We're pivoting. Our new mission is to build the best inferencing platform on the market. So we're building this because we have seen that more and more AI companies are fine-tuning their own models. And they're doing this because, one, they have so much traffic that it actually makes more financial sense to self-host, or two, they can get much better performance on their unique use case with a fine-tuned model versus a more general model like ChatGPT. But the problem here is that serving fine-tuned models is hard. If you want to have really fast response times, you need to have dedicated compute for it, which means that you are paying for GPUs 24/7. And GPUs are really expensive. H100s can be like $3 an hour. In addition, as you scale this, the cold start problem becomes really apparent, where starting a model on a new GPU instance can take over a minute. And so that means the first person to use your LLM on your app, if there's been several, like a long period of downtime, they're gonna have to wait over a minute just to be able to talk to the model. On top of that, there are also many possible choices for inferencing engines and hardware. And so companies have to do their own research to figure out what works well for them. Now, the solution today to this is serverless GPU platforms. for these platforms, you only pay for the compute you need, and those platforms will handle all the auto scaling around it so that you can scale really quickly and you don't need to deal with the GPU infrastructure at all. And so platforms like Modal Labs, RunPod, and Base 10 do serverless GPUs really well. Their approach is simple. You basically just bring your own inferencing code where you will run, let's say, VLM. You'll upload your model, and the platform will handle all the infrastructure. And this is sort of how we were doing it with Komodo as well, where people would just bring their own inferencing code, and we will handle the deployment and scaling of it. And so in the case of Modal and Base 10, they provided a very simple Python API where you just provide your inferencing code and they will wrap it for you. But the problem here is that cold starts and model performance are still a huge bottleneck. The platforms like Modal and Base 10 have reduced the container start times down to less than a second, which is amazing. But once your container started, that's where your code comes in. And now your code has to load the inferencing engine like VLM. The model has to be loaded into memory. And so this process can take even over a minute before your model is actually ready to be used. So the part of the stack that's optimized to start this container is not enough. There needs to be better optimizations to reduce that time to your first token. In addition, what we found is that our users had this problem, and even users of all these platforms had this problem as well. But we found that they're all pretty much doing the exact same thing. Anyone who's fine-tuning models is using, usually it's like Llama 3 or 5 Vision Instruct, and they're using VLM or TensorRT and Triton. But a lot of these people aren't actually doing enough of the research to figure out the exact optimization parameters around using all these engines to squeeze out the best performance possible. And so we think that these cold starts can be reduced significantly with the right optimizations. And so our approach is to own the entire inferencing stack, from the Docker image to the inferencing engine that will be used, all the way down to how we actually load models into memory. And so for the specific model architectures like Llama that we'll support, we will find all of the right optimizations for how to load this model and run it as quickly as possible. So for a specific model, we'll find out if it's right to use VLM or if we should quantize it with TensorRT and deploy it with Triton Inference Server. And so the way we're going to start is we are starting with small models up to 8 billion parameters, and we're creating a serverless platform on fractional GPUs, specifically A100s and H100s. That way, you can run your model on a GPU as powerful as an H100, but at a fraction of the cost. And so rather than bringing your own inferencing engine and your own inferencing code, you will just upload your weights and we will handle everything else. And then right from the dashboard, you'll be able to interact and chat with your model. So to show you why we're starting with this, I have two machines available here. So on this machine, you can see I'm running an A10 GPU and I have Llama 3.1 running on it right now. You can see it uses pretty much the entire GPU, about 20 gigabytes. And then I have another machine running here. This is an H100, and I'm only using a quarter of this H100. So if I wanted to send a request to my model and see how long it takes on an A10 GPU, so I'm going to run, okay, I'll run that one. And then on here, I'll run the exact same thing. And so on the case of the A10, it took 5.2 seconds. And on the case of a quarter of an H100, took 1.5 seconds. And so you can get much better performance on a fraction of an H100 and pay even less than you would with a cheap GPU like an A10. In this case, I'm paying about 15% less for that fraction of an H100 versus an A10. And so the idea that we're doing is that we will provide you with the different deployment options depending on how you want to optimize cost versus performance of your model. You will basically just upload your model weights, and we will provide a simple HTTPS endpoint that you can integrate into your product. You can chat with the model right from the dashboard. And we'll handle all the infrastructure for you. And so the kind of vision with this is to be able to support all of the major generative model architecture. So we're starting with the most common ones that we've seen. So we're starting with Llama 3. And as we get more requests for new model architectures, we will manually support those architectures, find the right optimizations to have this be the best possible way to deploy that model architecture. And on top of that, we actually want to build a whole platform around the model that you've served, so that rather than just being able to serve it, you can actually interact with your model, you can chat with it, you can benchmark its throughput, its tokens per second, and even see how users are using the model, find edge cases, find all the common use cases, and iterate off of that. We also want to leverage different types of hardware like AMD and even specialized inferencing chips that we see a lot of startups building right now, like Volantis ML. And we have actually already partnered with 2 AMD providers and 3 NVIDIA providers to help us build out this platform. And so for a given model architecture, let's say you wanted to deploy your own fine-tuned Llama 3.1, we will actually provide you with the different options of we could run it with VLM on this hardware or Triton and TensorRT on this hardware, and we'll give you the price and the performance that you can expect from that deployment option. And so we will handle all of that optimization research for you. You just pick the deployment option that works for you. And so if this is a vision that excites you, please sign up on our waitlist. I'd love to hear about your inferencing needs, what model architectures you want to support. And by working with us at this early stage, you can help shape the type of optimizations we're going to make. And you can even request a model architecture and we will hand optimize it for you and get it deployed in a completely serverless fashion. Thank you.
Questions?
Yeah. So really nice work. I was wondering, how do you guarantee security of your model? So if I'm sharing a GPU with others, can others read my model, like read my weight?
No. So we, first of all, even to you as the user, like we're not exposing these machines at all. We are just providing you with that HTTPS endpoint. And so in the terms of like sharing the GPUs, we are completely, we're actually fractioning them. In this demo, I didn't quite do it because we haven't fully built it out yet, but we are fractioning these GPUs using NVIDIA's MIG software. And so each container that we run on that machine will be completely isolated. Like the fractions will be completely isolated from each other. Oh, here.
Someone's
this fractional idea, will it only work for models smaller than 1 GPU's bandwidth, or for bigger as well?
Yeah, so fractional GPUs is specifically for smaller models. So that's why to start with, we're focusing on models that go up to 8 billion parameters, because those are the models that work well on fractional GPUs. Models past a certain size just won't fit on fractional GPUs. But we're specifically starting with this because we see a huge room for really insane cost performance. And also what we've seen with all the users that have used our platform as it is today, that people could actually get a lot better model performance in terms of like accuracy on their own use case on a fine-tuned 8 billion parameter model versus a base 70 bill plus model, because it's been fine-tuned for their specific use case. So there's already a lot of use cases just for smaller models. And we see with like the latest Llama models that have come out of Meta that there's a lot more research being put into smaller models for this particular reason. So that's why we're starting with this.
Thanks.
Anyone else? Huh? I'm gonna pass this.
So a fractional model is reside in the GPU memory all the time. I have to offload to a flash memory storage array, go back every time you initialize it.
Yeah, so making a few optimizations around that. For like really popular models that we know get swapped in often, we're going to keep them in CPU memory and then load them onto GPU. when the user actually gets a request to that model. We're also actually exploring changes to like VLM to make loading from disk even faster. Notably, and actually Run AI is an example of a company that just open sourced some software around this that we're actually working with right now. One weird way that models get loaded into memory right now is that the entire model from disk gets loaded to CPU, and then the model gets loaded to GPU. But you can actually do this so that it gets streamed through the CPU to the GPU, so that even when the full model hasn't been loaded into CPU, the part of the model that has been loaded can be streamed to the GPU while it waits for the rest of the model to be loaded into CPU. And so those are the types of optimizations we're making as well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you, Anish. All right. Our next section is going to be one of my favorite sections, which is America's Next Top Model. Before that, please take 10, 15 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever, to take a quick bathroom break, and then we'll gather around for our demos. That you can connect to USB-C cable.
For some reason, I can't connect to this Wi-Fi. Oh, this one, I see. I can try. Because my demo doesn't require network connection to open air. So. Oh, okay, I'll test it.
All right. If you are participating, if you are walking the catwalk for America's Next Top Model, I'm going to call out your name, and please come up when you hear your name. Agam, I saw you earlier. Okay, you're here. Wes Nishio, are you here? Wes? No Wes. Okay. Mustafa, you're Mustafa. Okay. Anup Gosavi. Oh, you're West. There you are. Okay. Anup. Oh, you're right here. Great. Daniele, I saw. Yeah, there you are. Aditya, I saw you. Abhishek, where are you? Abhishek. Ah, there you are. Okay. Sylvia Chen. I heard a here, but I don't see a face. Sylvia Chen. Oh, you're Sylvia Chen. Okay. Stefan, I saw. There you are. Stefan. Okay. Ning. Ning? Ah, there you are. You're here. Okay. Johan West. Johan West. There you are. Okay. Are you Mike? Okay. You're not presenting? All right. Karen, are you back? Karen, are you back? Karen. Karen Vidia. Okay. Hopefully he gets back. Yes. Rehan? Rehan Asif, that's you. Okay. And then Aswaria. That's you. Okay, cool. Yeah, dude.
I think we were just talking about that.
Oh yeah, I try to spend more time on like the features, but
You rushed through it.
I was in the back. I give about 20 minutes until we start the question section. So I'm just sitting there. I was like programming. I was just typing.
We were like going too fast.
It's actually really helpful if you like talk about. I don't know. Things that people really like to see are like, how did you actually? What's going on? Like, what's like, where are the calls happening? How are you accessing? Because like, are you
an architecture diagram for that?
This audience is also like, I mean, I guess that's that would get a lot more. Like people
are very people wanted people understand what it is.
Yeah. People were very interested in a lot of questions.
I know. Then you give me feedback. I'll go through the hackers. What is it? Hackers things? Yeah. Exactly.
What did you think? Did you get any good recordings? Yeah.
But I didn't do this like this.
Okay. Like our like you don't really like these tools like it's how yeah, it's fun. It's like I want like just like snippets of people like talking to me. Actually, one of the things I was thinking about is there's a lot of questions about some of the questions that are asked. So of course, I can get them from the 40s. Like people like talking to me. Like, I'm going to stop. We'll start. Okay. I'm taking this guy's spot. Yeah. All right, people in the back. If you can see me, I know you can see me because I can see you. If you can see me, you should start coming up to the front. People in the back who are hanging out in the snack section, I see you hanging out in the snack section. Don't make me come back there. I see you. People who are hanging out by the ping pong table, I see you as well. People who are hanging out by the ping pong table, I know you can see me because I can see your face. Hey, get up here. We're starting. They should be able to see me. People in the back, people in the back, people in the back. Get up here, come to the front, move to the front of the room. Especially those of you by the ping pong table. Especially the guy who's holding the ping pong paddle and waving it around. I see you walking back there. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just messing around. All right, snack people, finish up getting your snacks. All right, ping pong table. Don't be playing ping pong back there. All right, I think we're all ready for this. Dinesh, I'm taking your seat so I can take a recording. All right, Tensorfuse. Agam, where are you? Dinesh, I'm gonna take your seat up here. I'm gonna record like 2 or 3 seconds. That's fine. Quick.
Shall we start? Okay. So hi everyone. My name is Agam and I'm the founder of Tensorfuse. At Tensorfuse, we are building a serverless GPU runtime that sits on your private cloud. So very similar to what we just saw, but the only difference is you can use the cloud that you're already using. So AWS, Azure, Lambda Labs, etc. So today we'll see how you can quickly test your ML code on remote GPUs without having to SSH into the machine or go to the cloud console. So on the right-hand side is my Lambda cloud account. It currently has no running instances at the moment. And on the left-hand side is my code editor. So I've written a simple Docker file to run the Quen model. And if I want to test this Docker file before deploying it in production, then with Tensorfuse, all I have to do is run this command, tensorcube dev. And I can specify the GPU type that I want to use and the cloud I want to use. So in this case, I am running an A100 on Lambda account. As soon as I hit enter, Tensorfuse will automatically connect to a cloud GPU, sync my local changes, and start building the Docker file. So if I hit refresh on the right-hand side, okay, so it's asking me to select some GPU machines. So let me run it on a single A100, and I'll just say yes. So you see it automatically figured out the availability. And since the single A100 was not available, so it showed me the instance with 8 A100. And on the right-hand side, you can see the instance is now booting up. So this will take some time. But in the meantime, I already have another dev container that is running on my AWS account. And we'll use this container to see how Tensorfuse syncs my local changes to remote machines in real time. So I have my inference code here. And on the right-hand side on my browser, this is the endpoint that I'm currently using. So this endpoint is currently returning the string GPUs. Now I'll edit the string to GPUs are ready. And as soon as I make the changes.
As soon as you make the changes, your time is up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so as soon as I make changes and hit refresh, you'll see the string is updated to GPUs are ready.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
Everybody clap.
Okay. Thank you. If you want to try out TensorFuse, you can scan the QR code here. Until
All
the
right,
next
get off the
presenter comes,
stage.
I'm just going to show
Get
the
off the
QR.
stage. Get off the stage. Let someone else's turn. Wes, where are you? Get up there. I don't think the timer is going to start until somebody shows up. So there you go.
Hi, hello everyone. My name is Wes, and founder and CEO of GitAuto. GitAuto combines GitHub and automation and coding agent. This is coding agent for software engineering managers who wants to complete more bug fixes and feature requests. So let me get straightforward to the demonstration right now. So once you have, only you have to do is just create backlog tickets that you want to do. For example, this is a GitHub platform and GitHub issues. And once you create a new issue, just hold on. So I'm gonna just create a very quick rough issue, just a title, but I would recommend you to create a title and description. You know, the more specified, the better quality is. So as you see, like GitAuto comes up under GitHub issue comments. So you can assign this issue to GitAuto by checking the checkbox. See? So in a few seconds, yeah. So GitAuto comes up and it's notified to be assigned to this Git request, and starting generating a keyword from this contents, title, description, and comments, and explore and entire repository to specify and identify which file should be modified and which parts exactly should be modified. And once identified, start writing the code and then modify the file, update the file, and iterate this loop until it thinks it has completed and achieved this feature request or bug fixes. Now, let's say, so yeah. So it usually takes 2 to 3 minutes. Yeah.
There you go.
This is a
There's
pull
your 2
request.
minutes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Wes. All right, Mustafa, it's your turn.
Liquid detected in USB signal. There we go. Awesome. Got a sneak peek there. Right. Hello, everyone. I'm Mustafa, co-founder and CEO of Nomadic ML, and we build and optimize real-time and on-demand optimization solutions of ML systems. The way this works is we deal with compound AI systems. And I'm sure we've all heard of this term, but what they truly are is just a combination of multiple components, models, tools, and plugins. And behind all of these components, we have our configuration parameters. The hyperparameters that traditionally were only for ML models, these days are also being used for components in compound AI systems. And they really determine the end-to-end performance of your systems. With traditional solutions where you don't have continuous and holistic tuning of these parameters, you end up with situations like this, suboptimal performance of systems. With Nomadic ML and the Nomadic platform, which consists of the SDK and the workspace solutions, you're able to tune all of your components for that end-to-end holistic performance that you're looking for, whether that's higher accuracy or lower costs or just overall safe output. And this is especially important because AI systems that can auto-optimize and will be able to auto-optimize will be the ones that survive and make it into the future. And the Nomadic platform is pretty much of this. You set your definition of success, then you integrate the Nomadic SDK into your code base, and then you push your code to production and have your knobs and levers be tuned automatically. A brief demo of this is we can take this sampler rack pipeline here, where we've noted our tunable knobs and levers. And we're perhaps all familiar with hyperparameter tuning. This is very similar to that. Here we figure out the optimal knobs and levers to tune and their settings. And when you push your code to production, you can actually see your real ML system varying in performance from, say, here taking a model to taking a temperature. We're seeing that performance change from configuration to configuration. Thank you so much. And if you wish to sign up for our wait list, please scan this QR code here. Thanks.
Thank you, Mustafa. All right, next up we have VideoDB, Anup, Gosavi.
Hi, everyone. Yep. So hi, everyone. My name is Anup, and I'm the founder of a company called VideoDB. And what VideoDB does is it's a database for your videos, and we transform your videos into streamable and queryable data so that your LLM can search video, personalize video, and instantly stream video. Today, what I want to demo is we are releasing an open source framework to build AI video agents. So we have lots of agents that are still focused on text, but we are building one of the first open source frameworks for AI video agents. It's called Director, and I just wanted to demo it. So this is the front end. I have already uploaded a number of videos in my collection. I can create different collections, and then I can do stuff like, search for where they talk about, say, AI, right? So what Director framework is doing is it has automatically understood the message. It has figured out the search agent. It is already creating a compilation clip and then generating a summary. So basically, if you see, it has already created a 3-minute compilation clip. So the idea here is you can get instantaneous video answers to questions. And there are a number of agents that we provide out of the gate. There is a thumbnail agent, there is a video summary agent, you can create clips. And all of the value prop that we bring in is that it is instantaneously, you can stream it, right? So there's no waiting. You don't have to worry about any video infrastructure. And we are inviting developers to build more agents. You can change these agents to create stuff like highlights of sports games, surveillance videos, and even a text to, so a text to movie is another agent that we are building, but you basically give a prompt. It will automatically figure out the storyboards it wants to create, the narration it wants to create, and all of that. So try Director. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Anu. All right. Next up, we have Toolhouse from Daniele.
All right, you all, with the help of the AV gods, we're going to get to the presentation. All right. Search GPT who, Perplexity who. Let's do the same thing, which is 3 lines of code. All right. We're doing it with Toolhouse. What's Toolhouse? It's a complete tool-use infrastructure to build, run, and manage function calling in just those 3 lines of code, or 2 if you're using Vercel AI or Llama Index or another framework. All right, let's get to the demo. I'm impatient. So this is what Toolhouse looks like, just collection of tools. It's all in the cloud. Those 3 lines of code, you saw them. Also grab this $150 in credits. We're going to ask Claude behind the scenes, what's X saying about OSS for AI or Yijian Tang? Searching X. Looks like there's going to be an event on Wednesday. Amazing. Are you going?
It is.
Now we're going to design a nice cover image for this event. And with Anthropic behind the scenes,
oh wow,
we actually generated an image. How did we do that? In just 3 lines of code. That's my demo. Less than 1 minute.
Awesome. All right, how many founders does it take to learn how to do a demo in under 2 minutes? Apparently 5. All right, Swychcode, Aditya, Rohit. In the meantime, there is actually an event on Wednesday, so you should go check it out.
Daniel over here actually changed the entire game, you know?
That was, yeah, that's going to be hard to follow, man.
Yeah, totally. So, hi, I'm Aditya. I'm founder of Swytchcode. If you're working on API integrations, I'm here to help you to save up to 90% of your time. All you need to do is download our VS Code extension, search for a service. As a developer, I can integrate different methods or workflows. I'm going to give you a walkthrough of Stripe's API integration as an example. So just look up Stripe. Select the service, the version, and the language. By default, we are supporting latest versions, and the code has been generated in TypeScript. I want to integrate a method which can manage disputes, which is chargebacks. So just copy the method, paste it in your ID, select the line, and press enter. A sample code gets generated for you. It's ready to use. If you don't want to use TypeScript or another language, you can go to the console and generate the code method by method or for workflows. Similarly, it works for workflows. The same thing. Select the language and select an existing workflow. Let's do subscription creation with initial method. So basically in a workflow, you are combining 2 or more different API methods. On an average, a developer will take about 2 to 4 hours, which gets done under a minute over here. So this code is again self-documented. It helps you managing authorization and how to handle different responses. This is publicly available. If you want to add any API, you can do that with its open API spec. By Friday, you can also add Postman collections and generate code for methods and workflows. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. I love that these last 2 demos have been under 2 minutes. Those of you who know me know that I love timely demos. All right, next up, Appsmith, Abhishek Nayak.
Hi, everyone. I'm Abhishek. I'm the co-founder of Appsmith. Let's see. Let's get it up there. Oh, okay, great. So Appsmith is an open source low-code platform. We help you build all sorts of custom internal applications. Today, I'm here to demo how do you build a custom internal AI chatbot. These are AI chatbots that can talk to any data, give you real-time citations, and you can build like custom human-in-the-loop workflows so that if there's a human action needed, the agent can rely on a human. And you can embed these chatbots anywhere. Let me show you an example of a support agent chatbot. Ooh, okay. We'll have to zoom in a bit. So here's an example of a support agent chatbot where I can ask it to resolve a ticket, and I can see details of the ticket right here. I can take an action after that, which says, hey, extend license for nikhil@appsmith.com. Not only can I see that the chatbot has done it, but I can also go ahead and customize the actual expiry date using this UI here. Now, all of this has been built inside Appsmith. Let me show you how that looks like. The resolution here is a bit. Okay, if you can see this. Okay, so this is sort of the, it looks a little bit mangled here, but you can essentially customize the chat agent and add the description, make the UI show all the prompts that you needed to. But, well, thank you.
Thank you. Don't worry, technical problems at a technical talk is a very common thing. All right. Next up, we have Sylvia Chen, Own Layer.
Okay. I'm Sylvia, co-founder CEO of OnLayer. We try to make AI prototype production ready through pre-production testing, in production monitoring that will end up label your data log, your production logs with the pass and fail your evaluation result according to your own criteria, which ended up distilled into this data set, come back to the automated optimization process, which will identify the best working prompts and model configurations for you. So you don't have to be the one writing out the prompt and trying to figure out which one works the best versus not. So is it too small? A little bit. Here's an evaluator. You define what is a good key element, like summary. In this case, key elements needs to be covered. Here are the key elements and need to be triggered when it's tagged with summary. This means that when an inference is tagged with summary, that corresponding evaluator will be triggered and will return the result, whether it's a pass or fail. You can then add that directly to a data set. Like in this process, creating your so-called golden data set, and then come back to the optimization. Here, I already loaded in the specific tasks I would like to optimize mine for. I will generate 10, go through 10 iterations in each step. I would like to generate 20 prompts and select the top 4 performing ones. And when it comes to scoring agent, I need to select the golden data set that I've been curating that I would like to test all the generated prompt over, select the optimizing, which will take a little time, but here is a recorded result. Essentially, we'll generate you a list of prompts. If you already integrated with our API, you can directly deploy the best version immediately. And
that's time. All right.
Cool. If you want to learn more.
Thank you very much, Sylvia. Next up, we have Stefan from Dagworks. I'll tell you a little story while Stefan's setting up. I've known Stefan for a little over a year now. And in that time, I've seen him build, I think, 2 different open source applications. And those stars on that shirt, I think, are actually your logo, right?
Yeah, that's one of them. The logo for the project. So, which I'll show. So, hi, my name's Stefan, CEO of Dagworks. We're building open source frameworks to help you with integrated observability so you can build more reliable AI agents and applications. We have 2 frameworks, Hamilton and Burr, hence the stars for Hamilton and Burr slightly twisted. One way to characterize us is we're a better and more universal LangChain. What's the challenge with AI? It's non-determinism. What do you need? Well, you need to understand the inputs and the outputs to from the micro of the LLM to the macro, and that's why we built Hamilton and Burr. You can ship 2 to 4 times faster, and with one line, get observability. Since this is a quick demo, I'm going to show you a feature of Burr, which is time travel. So picture this. You have your agent. It's 20 steps in. Something happens. How do you debug that? Well, with Burr, you have a pip installable UI. The short for Burr, and both Hamilton is the idea is that you write code, you get a graph. So that's what you see on the right-hand side. With this UI, we can kind of trace and understand and see what our agent has been doing. I could also annotate something, look at the cost, create a test fixture from that particular action. Always look at the understand what the code was, but importantly, Burr with the UI, we can see the state at any single point in time. So if there was something weird, say with this generate image, the thing that I would need to do is just know what was the trace ID here. I then can go into my notebook. I have Burr has a initialize from construct. And so we just need to know where to initialize from, what step it was, right? And then we can rehydrate our agent. And then we can rerun it and then generate that new image. And so we even log the, and so if you want to understand where things came from, we also log it in the UI so you can see where things were forked from. That's all I have in 2 minutes. And so if you want to know more, do star Burr or Hamilton, and otherwise come find me for stickers. Thank you.
Very nice. All right, thank you, Stefan. Next up, we have NG from Ning Ren. There are also stickers on the table up there from CodeRabbit, by the way. Oh, and Toolhouse.
Yeah, and my sorry. So hello, I'm Ning, and this is Yunfeng. We are co-author of the open source library Angie. So Angie is a developer tool that can turn your prompt into a fully working Python apps. So behind the scenes, agentic workflow can generate through the design doc, front-end and back-end code, and the one-click run script. So Yunfeng will show you, since the Python backend is very powerful, so Yunfeng will show you through a demo.
Okay. All right. So let's make it bigger. So basically what we're trying to prototype today is to create an app that captures the camera, detect and count how many people is in the frame. We kind of just come up with the idea like 30 minutes ago. So anyways, so if you run this, this is gonna take a few minutes to actually generate all of these things. So we will probably not gonna show you all the internals, but let's look at some of the things it generates. Like for example, it will try to generate some backend design. Like it contains all of the prompt, like this is open source, right? It will generate all the prompts and all the things it needs to run these things. Apparently it is using OpenCV, right? So a bunch of things is happening, and then it will generate a front-end design. It will generate a backend design, backend design as well. So gradually there's gonna be a server Python file, and there's gonna be some like the index.html, which is the front end. Yeah, anyways, yeah, so let's show what exactly happened. So because this is gonna take some time, so we're just gonna show the result.
Yeah, so this is exactly prompt that we generated like a few minutes ago, and I will just run this. After generating, it's fully working, like it can detect, read the camera, detect how many people in the camera. Yeah, thank you. If you found it interesting, please give us a star.
Wait. Turn it around. Turn the camera towards us.
Oh.
Turn the camera towards us.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so it works at close range.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
OpenCV is
I was just
that
curious. All
powerful.
right.
Yeah, thank you.
Next up, oh yes. Next up, we have Pure ML, Johan West. Where you at? There you are.
Hey everyone, I'm Johan, and for my day job, I am a machine learning engineer. So just curious, by show of hands, who here has trained a machine learning model before? Yep, a lot of people, fantastic, because here we're here to talk about Pure ML, which is our product, which is using AI to enhance the machine learning model building process. And how do we do this? And so we take your base data set that you would train the machine learning model on, and we do data pre-processing, cleaning, and also what we're going to demo today, which is creating entirely new synthetic features for your data set using AI. And so for this demo, we'll use a base data set of vehicles, as you can see here. And the next step is we ask the user to upload what we call context documents. These are PDFs that can provide external context to allow the AI to make better informed decisions on what features to make. For this demo, we preloaded a large data set of car manuals. Then you just do your ML config. And let's see how the AI does. And so up top here, we have our base data set. And then down below, we have the data set that was generated. Let me zoom that in. We have the data set with the additional features that were generated. As you can see, we've got 4 new features: car body type, horsepower, country of the manufacturer, and is it a luxury vehicle or not? And so how is the AI determining what features to generate? And so it uses its own general knowledge as well as the context documents you provided in the first step. And from that, it determines, using the row context, what features it can generate from that. And so, for example, car body type, is the car a hatchback, sedan, SUV? That can be determined from the car's model. What's the horsepower of the vehicle? That can be actually parsed out of the engine feature here. what's the country of the manufacturer, and is it a luxury vehicle? Both those can be determined from the car's brand. And so with better features, we have better data sets, and result, we have better machine learning models. And yeah, that's pure ML. And if you're interested, we're looking for testers. Please go to pureml.io, and thank you, everyone.
Cool. Thank you very much, Johan. All right, next up we have Composio, Karan Vadia. I hope I said that right. By the way, they will also be at the event on Wednesday, for those of you who remember the event on Wednesday from Daniele.
Hey folks, I'm Karan from Composio. Everybody is building AI agents right now, right? These models have become so powerful, they can read, write, and probably solve the lead code problems faster than all of us combined. But when it comes to kind of giving the power of real world tools to these agents, that's where kind of things starts to fumble. You have to deal with auth flows, API versioning, documentation, rate limits, the type of things that like makes at least me question my life choices at even in night 2 a.m. And like even after that, after you go through all that, the agents are not able to understand these APIs because they are not made for AI. They make rookie mistakes like an intern, which kind of essentially things get pushed minus forces answer to all the solutions. And that's where we come. We are Zapier for AI agents, connecting agents to GitHub, Slack, Gmail, Salesforce, etc. in like 2-3 lines of code. And you can essentially build software engineering agent, as you can see here. Sorry for the zoom. It's like less than 60 lines of code using Crew AI. You give like power of file manager and shell to the agent, and it's able to code and essentially solve a real world problem and create a PR for you on GitHub. So I created this video just today morning. Somehow there's some issue in the video, but yeah, it essentially creates the PR out of the. Yeah, I think there's some issue with my laptop, but essentially it creates the PR in less than 60 lines of code. We are 4th on the Sui bench. So like the OpenAI Sui bench verified with less than kind of 100 lines of code. That required a bit more from our side. But if you want to try out and build your own Sui agent or use the power of Slack, Gmail, Slackfold, like 100 plus tools with your AI agents, try out Composio. Here's the QR code. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Thank you, Karen. All right, next up we have DBoss by Qian Li. By the way, there's also an event on Tuesday. So if you have nothing to do this week, you can just come hang out with me all week.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here. I'm Qian, the co-founder of DBoss. So you can scan here. Scan and follow me on LinkedIn here. So as you've seen, like there's so many presentations today. We know that AI agents are becoming more and more powerful. They're not just chatbots. They will send emails for you. They will create PRs for you. They will probably do online shopping for you. They're more complex, and you really want them to be reliable and observable. So we already have so many AI frameworks. We don't need another one. What I'm telling to you today is that at DBoss, we provide a lightweight durable execution library you can plug into any existing AI frameworks. So as a fun project, I took Swarm by OpenAI, added a few lines of DBoss decorations, and I created durable Swarm. Here's a demo. So I created agent, the refund agent. It's from an OpenAI original Swarm example, but it's crash proof. So here we go. My name, Qian. Oh, okay. It will start refunding process, but oops, I accidentally click Control-C. What happens now? Well, with DBoss, you can just restart it. It will resume from the last completed step. So you will never lose your execution state. And we call it durable execution. Now you will never worry that your program will crash because it can always resume from where it left off. Moreover, we export OpenTelemetry compatible traces. So you can see we find traces, we can find the traces we just ran. And then you click through it, you get a nice waterfall graph for debugging. So please give a try to debug. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I need that because every time I write software, it crashes. Next up, we have Raga AI from Rehan Asif.
Hey everyone, so I'm from Raga AI. Raga AI solves the reliability problem for enterprise applications if you're building an LLM or agentic world. So recently we have released Agent Neo, which is an open source framework to do just that for multi-agentic systems. So it's an open source Python SDK, right? What you can do is like observability, monitoring, and evaluation framework for that. So basically what we do, we trace and we integrate with any LLM frameworks that you have, like LangChain, Light LLM, if you're using, or any AutoGen, QI, LangGraph. We create those traces, log into your local storage, SQLite, which gets stored on that. Then there is some APIs generated, which does evaluation module. We use evaluated agents, which is a reasoning agent as judge, right? And you have a dashboard, which is locally hosted to see all your traces in your multi-agentic system and look at the evaluations. So I'll show you just an example how easy it is to do that. Say, suppose this is your travel agent planner, which get a query from your user and plans a travel for that, right? So what you just need to do, you just need to initialize that from Agent Neo, import Agent Neo, tracer, evaluation, and launch dashboard. Just trace all your application with a tracer object, right? Trace tools here, trace agents. Basically, an agent is the itinerary agent in this case. And at the end, just launch a dashboard. After running certain metrics, you will see this is something that opens on your local host. You get a whole project dashboard overview. There is an execution graph. You can debug those issues in the execution graph, which has agent, LLM, tool, user interaction, certain errors that you're getting. You can go and look at the evaluations. You will see that there are traces that you can already look at that. How is the conversation happening in the timeline view, where the agent calls are happening, where the tool calls are happening. But you also get the evaluation metrics, like is the right tool call, is the goal fulfilled correctly, is the planner agent working fine, where we see that the score for tool call correction in this was 0.25, and the reason is also something that you get displayed here. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. We have one more contestant today. Aswarya Sankar with Intelligence AI. This is, we saw a version of this a few months ago, so I'm excited to see what's new.
Well, yeah, hi everyone. I'm Ashwarya. I was here a few months ago. A lot has changed. Cool. Hello, can you hear me now? All right.
Yes.
So at Intelligence, what we've worked on building is essentially unifying all of a company's engineering knowledge sources and making that available for onboarding flows as well as PR reviews. So I want to just highlight two of those features here today. Yes, this is our page. So what we do is we've kind of built like a Claude artifact type system that can actually explore your entire system. So if you take in any code base here, it essentially is one of the first platforms that can highlight and deconstruct the entire code base. And then for any part that you're interested in, you can kind of explain it, visualize it, or find how it's built. So this way you can kind of get a full comprehensive understanding of any system of any size, kind of however you want. So it's not just one-off questions, it is the entire system. And we've built a kind of tuned our own model to be able to custom figure out what are things that you would have further questions on. So if I want to just understand where rendering elements is implemented in Excalibur, I can just find that piece of code, or I can visualize it, etc. So that's one of the things I wanted to share. The other thing is we also have built one of the first PR reviews within VS Code. So let's say you are This is our VS Code app. You want to get a review on your latest changes. We have a whole set of different commands: solve issue, find code, list issues, PRs, etc. And one of the latest one right now is review diff. And what it will do is it'll take all of your recent changes, give you a summary of everything you've done. And then here's like a file tree of all the changes I've made. If I click on them, it will essentially give me an inline comment on what I can do and fix. So this way you can kind of pre-review all of your changes before you even push it to GitHub. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thank you very much. All right, that concludes all the programming for our November event. Thank you guys all for coming today. I hope to see you guys again in December or sometime next year. If you have taken any pictures or videos of the event, please send them to me. You can message me on Luma or message me on LinkedIn or whatever. And yeah, cool. You guys do about 20 minutes, kind of chat and see what's going on.